Bam.
Live. There we go.
Okay, we're live. Hi guys, this is Thunder E from Board@Work, and we are live on the road. Technically, you've seen this background before. I'm actually at Sam's, and some big news hit today. First of all, I want to say this live hangout is sponsored by AT&T. Not really. I'm just using the AT&T phone to stream. So.
So their LTE better hold up, or we're gonna have a different kind of talking point the next time we bring them up.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Uh-oh.
On cue.
Did we already lose him?
I think
we've
so.
already lost him.
He's frozen in time right now.
I have characters.
There he is.
Hello? Hello? Can you guys hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I can
you're
hear
back. Sorry, you're fading.
I was fading. Oh wow! After all that LTE praise.
And like
Yeah.
breathing and then doing your best robot dance and then getting all glitchy. It's good times.
Okay, all right. Is it better now?
Yeah.
For the moment, so we might as well start talking. See if we can't get through this before.
Okay, let's do this. Big announcement. Ben Affleck. First image of Ben Affleck as Batman was shown today. Released by Zack Snyder. Took it with his. What camera did he use? I think he used a
Leica camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and also, it wasn't even like he was tweeting like, hey, this is a picture of Ben Affleck as Batman. It was like, I took this amazing-looking picture with my Leica camera because I'm Zack Snyder. And
it was
I'm
like a
very
sponsorship, kind of, in a
It
way.
was totally like, it couldn't have been more of a Leica-sponsored tweet if he tried.
Yeah, but it probably wasn't a sponsored tweet. I don't think it was.
No, I just mean the way that he phrased it was very much that like sort of I'm talking about an expensive camera that I own, not hey everybody, you've been wanting to see a picture of the Batman costume, here it is. It was this
That's
like
true.
nebulous. I took this picture. It's with a really nice camera.
Probably did put him on it in the same exact voice too. That's funny.
From now on, that's my Zack Snyder voice. Okay, that's totally the voice I'm gonna use for Zack Snyder.
Even though he doesn't sound like that, right?
Oh, he totally sounds like that now. I read that in a book. That's what Zack Snyder sounds like. .com.
Okay. All right. So what do you guys think? I'll start off with you. You know what? I'll start off with Lex. Lex, what do you think about seeing the Batmobile, the front of them? Because we still haven't seen the whole thing. Front of the Batmobile and a silhouette of Ben Affleck as Batman.
Well, in terms of the Batmobile, I think it looks almost a mixture of the Dark Knight and like the 1978 elongated Batmobile. It's kind of industrial, but at the same time, it's kind of just modernizing like the new way. But I mean, I haven't seen the whole thing yet, so I really can't speculate on that. But in terms of Ben Affleck as Batman, that dude is husky, man. That guy. I like the whole outfit. I like how the horns are shortened. I don't like the elongated horns at all. And he does kind of seem older, which is kind of like the vibe they're going for the new movie. So I like that.
Okay. How about you, Juan?
Yeah, absolutely agree. It's everything that we've talked about in some of the previous hangouts and what we were hoping to see. If this is going to be an older Batman, I would hope that they would start drawing influences from the comics, obviously. And it looks like we've got a pretty good homage to the Frank Miller The Dark Knight Returns series, with the like Lex mentioned, the smaller ears, and then also bringing in elements of some of the other Bat franchises that we like, where the texture of the suit and the look of the suit looks like it's pulling a little bit from the Arkham games. The cowl is definitely more Frank Miller inspired, and we're not too far away from the Christopher Nolan Batman, with the Batmobile having more of a militaristic edge to it as opposed to it being just a really fancy car. So no, I mean, like, all in all, I'm really positive on this production design. I mean, it's excellent costume work in my opinion. I think it definitely fits the feel of a world where Superman and Wonder Woman and all of these other super powered heroes are going to exist, and Batman sort of sneaks into being this more vigilante myth, urban legend kind of a character.
Okay, I'm gonna switch to my image I have here, and
I've got it. If you think your LTE can handle it.
Is it showing up? Is
oh
it
yeah, no,
showing up?
it's good.
Okay, as long as it's clear. I like it. I like the look of the Batmobile. It's it kind of reminds me of the Batmobile of the new game that's coming out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean the front look looks like the one for the new game. I haven't seen the way the hood is particularly, but I like that mixture there. It's got a very, like you said, it's a stylized, realistic look from what we've had in the Nolanverse. Now Ben Affleck as Batman, Like Lex said, he looks very husky. He's got that very big tone, which in my mind, I think if you're going to do a movie in the Man of Steel universe, even though, technically Batman can't beat Superman physically, but if he looks imposing, then that sets a good stage, on film for you. The other aspect to the costume, it looks very skin tight, even though we know it's not cloth. But I do like those mixes there. I do like the cowl, and I do like this first image. I think as a first image, Zack Snyder did a good job because the fan reaction has been like, oh my God,
Yeah.
It's been tremendously positive. Most likely the suit is going to be gray and black, which is going to be, which is like the comic books to a large degree. So I think on all those points they really hit it, and it's probably the right tone to start off production and start moving things along with the movie altogether. So
Well, even just down to the physical conditioning that it looks like they put Ben Affleck through, is that he looks more like the sort of barrel-chested Batman, the slightly older Batman from The Dark Knight Returns. I mean, like, little details like that, I think fans will care about if he's supposed to be on the slightly older end of being a vigilante superhero. That kind of stuff matters. He can't just run in there and look like some 30-year-old dude who can go toe-to-toe with superpowered entities. He's got to look like, the older, wiser Batman that we all know from the comics.
Well, like even in the new Justice League movies and the DC comic movies, like the animated versions, he is more like built, kind of showing like the wear and tear he's going through, and that's the only way that he can kind of compete with the new age like villains is because his bones are brittle. Even in the old Dark Knight with Christopher Nolan, he was breaking down already. So, it kind of makes sense for him to be built like that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I agree with you there because it's one of those things I've been following. I go to the comic message boards, especially on superhero hype, and check out some of the stuff. And people are checking out tabloids for pictures of Ben Affleck on a daily basis. I swear to God, like people are trying to measure his biceps.
17 inches. The rumor is 17 inches.
Yeah, because his wife said 17 inches. All that stuff. So it's interesting to see. And of course, definitely there is padding on the suit. We all know that, of course, but it really shows that he's bulked up. A lot into this role, and at least on the visual aspect, and I think that's one of the things that for me was important. I think we had talked about this too before, Juan, is that it was important for them to get the look, especially of Ben Affleck as Batman, because everyone says, okay, well, I can see him as Bruce Wayne, but
Nope. From the very beginning, from the first day of the announcement, I even have a video on my YouTube channel saying I was all for him being both like the Bruce Wayne and the Batman characters.
No, I didn't say you. I said everyone else. I said like.
No. That's what I'm saying. Is that I was right and they were all wrong, and. That's why this conversation is important, because I need to be able to express to other people on the internet how wrong they were. And if I don't get a chance to do that daily, then I don't feel like I'm really doing my job.
No, as if people haven't seen Ben Affleck's recent movies, though, he's definitely come a long way from his Daredevil days. He's a great actor. Argo was amazing. The Town was amazing. A couple other movies he's been in. He is an A-class actor, so to think that he can't get into this role is kind of being, I guess, objective because of the way that Christian Bale has done it. But his voice, to an extent, has ruined that role. He's a great Batman. But his voice alone has like tarnished some of those movies. So
you
don't like that combination of demon voice and Richard Nixon? Really? With the jowls. No, seriously, if you do a bad impersonation of Richard Nixon and then throw in just like a little bit of a barking dog sound effect in the back of your voice, you too can be the Christian Bale Batman.
That's hilarious.
Oh man, no, the thing about it where people were stuck on the fact that you see him as Bruce Wayne, you can see him as Batman, and I said as long as they put out one image at the start of production and just show us Ben Affleck as Batman and he just looks hardcore, everyone would just shut up. Everyone would shut up and, and then they can release different angles of that image and then eventually in color, and we can have that for like 6 months and no one will care because people will just be analyzing this image to death. Especially like the texture of the outfit. And but one of the things I do like is that if you blow up the image, you can see. I love the way the glove is. His glove and his what does he call it again?
The gauntlet.
Yeah,
The gauntlet, yes, the gauntlet, yeah. They just look more fine-tuned and it's almost like it's built for brawling rather than the extra spikiness that you saw in previous movies, where it felt more like an accessory, fashion accessory, than anything else.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see that there in those elements. But
I have to say, I think I'm kind of happy that they didn't put the image out right away, because I think if they had tried to quell fears, it would have been taken as more of a desperate move by some people out there that, oh, well, look, they're trying to impress us with good costume design. Anyone can make a costume. Ben Affleck was Daredevil. I'm an idiot, blah, blah, blah. So I'm kind of glad that they let all of that fervor die down. We've had a couple other announcements and updates as to the casting. Like we got a couple other surprises with Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, and
we were all stunned with that one.
Yeah, so I mean, like, enough time has passed where now that they're actually getting into the proper production, it's not just here's a render of what the suit will look like, or here's a still from the set that isn't in optimal lighting or isn't well produced or doesn't look very good now, but they're actually putting out a high-quality Batman pic, and it's not just a leaked press photo or a leaked set photo. And I think that's probably the best way they could have gone about doing this.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think they've done a good job. I think even in general, how we've talked about how the fact that it's almost like once or twice a month, WB tends to just put out more information about this production, and you said it. You're like, we'll keep making videos about this. I remember when you said
hook, line, and sinker. They're gonna get us talking about their crap. Those jerks.
Exactly.
Their interesting movies and news about their movies.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I mean, I like that fact. Now, a couple of things I want to ask about the suit. Do you think I hope with modernization and everything, because the cowl looks fixed. It's not a separated cowl that you had in the Nolan trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we're going to have any issues with movement because his cowl looks fixed, or do you think they've solved that problem?
I think. Oh, sorry, I don't know if Lex had an opinion, but it doesn't matter because I'm going first. No, it's I think one of the things that we're gonna have to do they're gonna have to do a good job of. I'm saying we, like I'm involved in this project at all. One of the things that they're gonna have to do a good job of is balancing the idea of an older Batman with the amount of action that they're gonna have to put into this movie, and I think it would be wise of them to use Batman more for those silhouettes, those setups, where like all of a sudden you turn around and there's Batman. Less the I need to have him doing Krav Maga in every other scene. More it's like if we get that silhouette of Batman on a rooftop, we get that silhouette of Batman on a railing, we get that silhouette of like just those iconic Batman poses. That's what that cowl is actually really good for, is giving us that perfect image of the Batman comic book panel. The comic book panel, which is frozen in time. It's just that one instant of what that situation would be. And that's what I think is a smart play if they decide to sort of showcase Batman that way. He's more a myth. He's more an urban legend. He's less the let's do brightly lit fight scenes, where he has to take out 30 guys. And I don't think that's very interesting in a Superman movie.
So do you think it would be more like Dark Knight Returns, where remember in the I can't remember what, I think it was part 1, where he entered into this abandoned building and he took out like 7 guys, but it was like he went from station to station almost in a very cryptic manner, where almost every fight scene feels like Batman is playing. I mean, which is truly his case.
It's actually
shadows.
It's one of the things that I think Nolan lost sight of. I mean, I think the fight stunts in Batman Begins aren't very well shot at all.
Oh no,
they're very poorly shot. But the thing that I think Nolan lost sight of is that Batman should operate with a sense of mystery. And at the end of Batman Begins, where he's taken out the mob bosses and their henchmen, and he's doing stuff with his grappling hook and then swallowing them up in his cape and then zipping them away, and he's creating panic and confusion and stuff like that. You know, more the guy with smoke bombs, less the guy who's just gonna brightly lit walk out into an octagon and try and take out all comers. That's the kind of Batman that I would want to see operate, because he is mortal. He can get hurt. He has to play smart while also instilling fear. And it can't just be straight up brutality every single time he faces a bad guy. He's gotta work psychologically as well. And I think even opposite someone like a Superman who's got super hearing and super sight and super speed, that he's got to be able to instill some sense of presence in that universe as well.
Well, I really feel like it's going to be influenced from the Justice League, because Batman is known for his intelligence and knowing how to decipher like a situation, and the Superman from Man of Steel is kind of a novice. Like, he really doesn't know what he's doing. He's kind of going with it. And if they're going to be fighting, I mean, the first iteration of the movie is Batman versus Superman, which blows my mind. But at the same time, they're going to have to incorporate his intelligence factor, his mystique factor, and just
his
overall
ability to strategize.
Yeah,
exactly.
Incorporate that into that movie, because he's not going to be duking it out with him. There's no way possible.
Well, I actually, I'm actually kind of hoping that they do sort of because on the internet, it's the running gag that Batman can beat anybody so long as he has enough time to prepare.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I know he'll definitely have there has to be kryptonite added into this film, because
Okay, yeah, that brings a question. I want to ask you this, because I know where kryptonite.
No. If Batman just has a little canister of Kryptonian atmosphere in his utility belt, he can just spray some on Superman. And, oh no, my own atmosphere is toxic to me. Now I've lost all my superpowers. Even though I'm solar powered, I'm a giant battery, and I'd probably be able to store up energy for a longer period of time than it would take for me to be on a spaceship with my own air on it. I'm Kryptonian.
Okay, all right. For this movie, you know that's not actually kryptonite. For this movie,
remember, he learned on a farm. You got to remember that he learned his skills on a farm.
That's right. He's not a fighter.
On this movie, where do you think kryptonite is going to come from?
Well, Batman sees all, knows all. So they're going to have to.
Sorry.
They're going to have to incorporate, like, I guess, scenes from the first movie to showcase like his weaknesses or something like that. But there's no other way for Batman to know, unless
but I mean, like, in all seriousness, outside of just them fighting, because we'll have to have some like setup where Batman and Superman duke it out. I'm sure you always have to. They did that in the Avengers. You always have to have your superheroes fight each other. But what I'm really hoping for is that scene, and I forget exactly what Superman comic it was, but it's one of the sort of re-ups in the first meeting between Superman and Batman, where Superman can obviously just sort of scan.
Oh yeah, the way they find each other's
Wayne,
identities, right?
And he can figure out who he is, but then Bruce Wayne, blows a dog whistle, and he knows who Superman is.
Oh yeah, they did that in the World's Finest. It was
World's Finest. Thank you. Yeah. That's right. That's absolutely right. So
the comic and the animated version. Yeah.
What I hope that they're able to do efficiently is to set forth that kind of a relationship, where, especially because it's old Batman and young Superman, because the Superman in Man of Steel is not clever. And so that's what I think we need to start Justice League is a character who's clever. Even if that's his only superpower, it's just that he's smart. Because it's not going to come from Clark immediately following what happened in the first Man of Steel.
Yeah, I just saw a Justice League movie. They had backup plans for all the Justice League members, and they found out, and they're like, "Why do you have backup plans?" It's like, I would be an idiot if I didn't have a backup plan for you guys. So it's like he's the one that keeps it all together. So they'd have to be in that movie.
Oh no, yeah, true. But back to my original question, which Juan said no idea, and Lex said Batman is all-knowing as his answer for kryptonite. I think kryptonite in this movie will come from actually the Kryptonian ships, not the atmosphere, but actually the fuel. Because the fuel is actually the core of the planet, which they stated in the first movie. Which you could just call it, their version of, uranium. Simple, done.
Right.
Closed.
So it becomes like spent fuel, like uranium fuel rods and stuff like that. That actually makes a lot of sense, and that would fit in with the sort of tapestry that they tried to create with the first film. So I would be on board that. That's
if they take my idea, of course.
But it's just you walk a fine line with what you need to introduce and how you need to explain story points and story elements when you've already tweaked the mythos of Superman.
Mhm.
You know, with the combination of atmosphere and sunlight being his fuel source, and you just got to be careful with that.
Careful, yeah.
Because there are a lot of people, like my wife, for example, is a humongous Superman fan, even though she hasn't read very many of the comics because of her experiences with the Christopher Reeve films. She liked Lois and Clark. She's like basically every incarnation of Superman except for what's actually come printed in a comic book. And I feel that she is not alone in that kind of. I mean, Superman has sort of grown and transcended just the printed comic, and so you've got a wide fan base who already knows everything about Superman. You kind of have to be careful with how you rewrite his powers and abilities.
See, my thing about Superman is I respect all his other powers, okay, but him flying frustrates me to no end. It makes no sense when he can fly. How can you fly?
Let's do this.
It just doesn't make sense. Literally, if you look at Thor, and we're going to Marvel now. If you look at Thor, he has a propulsion system. He has his hammer. If you look at Green Lantern, he has a ring.
Okay. Thor is not even. Don't even put Thor in Superman category. Just put that little kid away. Put him aside. His little hammer.
He's a thunder god.
He's so dreamy.
Look, I'm sorry. If Thor is having a hard time with Iron Man, as we saw in the Avengers, he should just go and sit down.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he didn't really have a hard time.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Maybe he was taking it a little bit easy.
I was gonna say, if he was having a hard time with Iron Man, it was because he didn't.
If it wasn't for Captain America, Iron Man would have been dead. Let's be honest.
Yeah, he didn't want to just like crush that suit all around Tony.
But it's Tony Stark, man.
And it'll be the same thing in a Superman-Batman fight, is that Superman has to hold back. That's we know that. We know that the reason why Batman
but Batman fans would tell you that Batman can beat anyone.
No, but that's just it.
Because he can't.
The real Batman fans are going to say the reason why Batman can beat Superman in a fight is because Batman will use that knowledge to his advantage, that Superman will hold back.
No, I mean, I agree until I read Lex Luthor Man of Steel. And it was a really great. It's a really great little comic book about Lex Luthor, and I hope they use that basis for this Lex, because Lex saw Superman more as just being a threat. He was like, "Look, who is this dude that falls out of the sky, and then everybody loves him? I mean, I should be afraid, you know?" And Lex goes to Bruce Wayne to ask for a piece of Kryptonite. Bruce is like, "Nah, why? It's not necessary. I don't think so." And Bruce was in town in Metropolis. So Superman's on patrol. He sees Batman. First time he meets him, he's flying towards him. Batman sees Superman, opens up his little. As soon as Superman sees him open it up, he blows a gust of wind from a mile away, blows him off the roof.
That's unreal.
And then he does this to Batman. That's it. Done. And then the next day, Bruce Wayne gave Lex Luthor a whole chunk of kryptonite.
But I mean, like, especially like in the one-off stories, because I think maybe one of the most interesting. We've talked about this before too. One of the most interesting to me is the notion of Red Sun, that alternate Superman storyline where he falls in Soviet Russia. But in the general, mostly accepted canon of Superman and Batman comics is that Batman has a chance because he can capitalize on the fact that Superman will hold back for precisely that reason, and that's an excellent example of if Superman really uses his powers against people, what are people going to do? They're going to fight him. You know what I mean? And so, he's going to win, but at what cost? It's a Pyrrhic victory if he has to nuke the whole planet because humanity's decided to rise against him.
Yeah.
What villains do you guys think will be incorporated in this film? Because I don't think it'll just be Batman and Superman. There has to be some other element to it to kind of maybe merge them together.
Well,
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say. I mean, like, because they're talking about introducing Cyborg. Yeah. That we probably see some notion of a character like Metallo.
Yeah. I think Metallo first. And I think we're going to see some rumblings of Apocalypse and Darkseid. Not him, not mention of him, but his minions, whether it's Desaad, whether it's Mannheim, which actually, during our last hangout, when we did whatever Superman story that came up, someone did mention that if you watch the Man of Steel again, you slow it down, you will find they actually had a shot of Mannheim's club in Metropolis. In there, so it's an Easter egg, of course, but it's something to say that yeah, he is part of that world. So I think you see parts of Darkseid there. You know, maybe Lex might work with him knowingly or unknowingly, who knows, that kind of thing. But definitely, I think Metallo will probably be the main villain because it's easier for Batman to eventually help Superman with Metallo. Just as an easy plot point, than anyone else, because you know Superman just can't beat Metallo toe to toe if he has kryptonite like just sticking there in his chest.
Man, how funny would it be if after this film we get the Avengers ramped up for Thanos, if we got the X-Men ramped up for Apocalypse, and we got Superman ramped up for Darkseid, because they're all kind of the same character.
Yes.
Yeah, they're just different iterations of each other.
I mean, yeah. Okay, wait. Let's think about it. All right, I don't know. Okay, what does Thanos want ultimately?
The universe.
But he owned the 10 rings, but the 10 rings are part of his quest, right?
Right.
Then you have Apocalypse, who was looking for the perfect mutant gene, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. And then you have Darkseid, who's looking for the Infinity, whatever it's called, Infinity Formula. I can't remember exactly what it is. Something about it's a formula for life. Basically, all of them are looking for the ultimate source of power, and it happens to be around our planet for some reason. I don't know why Earth is just so friendly for this kind of shit.
If they were smart, they'd just team up.
Yeah,
you know, an apocalypse, Thanos team up. I mean, just why not? But no, I just think it's funny. It's like, especially with like how there are sort of general trends in films. Like you get a Dante's Peak and a Volcano out at the same time. That comic books have always sort of like been influenced and inspired by each other to the point where now our comic book movies are also looking like we're going to end up with the same villains attacking each other. We just need to now like get like a Silver Surfer, like a Galactus in Fantastic Four to line up at the same time. We could have the 4 like most awesome supreme powered bad guys of all time.
Yeah, we could. But I wanted to segue because Lurod has a question here, and I think a lot of us want to address this, but it's not as big as in news, but since it's part of comic books, we might as well. Before we got that pleasant photo of Ben Affleck in his bat suit and the Batmobile looking all dope and tight, we also got some other news this week. And it says, besides the news of Batman, what do you guys think of Channing Tatum playing Gambit and getting his own standalone movie?
Okay, wait. All right, now listen. I know he's coming out with a movie called Jupiter Rising, okay? And I'm really excited for this movie. I think it's with Mila Kunis.
No, I'm very excited for the movie too.
Once I see him in that role and see how he does, then I'll be more, I guess, attuned to judge his new role as Gambit. Because all I remember is 21 Jump Street and everything else, and that's the only thing I'm seeing with him. So I have to see Jupiter Rising, and then I'll go from there.
How about you, Juan?
Okay, so
I love that tone breakdown was like.
No, see, because this is ultimately going to be a good thing, I think. It's really going to come down to what the overall character and production design for the character is like. If we get like the 90s cartoon trench coat, weird hood thing wearing Gambit, then I think this is a bad casting. But I'm actually a pretty big fan of Channing Tatum. In my opinion, he has been miscast in a lot of roles, especially like for those achingly chick flick romantic dramas that he's been in. I don't think that those are good vehicles for him. If you've never seen it, there's this amazing film called A Guide to Recognizing Your Saints, and it was shot a while ago. So it's got a young what's his name from Transformers?
Shia LaBeouf.
Shia
LaBeouf as and it's sort of Robert Downey Jr.'s in it, and it's all about coming home and then remembering what his childhood was like in 1970s New York. And Channing Tatum is incredible in that movie. I mean, he's just phenomenal, and it's a very honest and just a very sort of raw performance from a younger actor that I don't think we saw him really sort of grow into his ability to perform until much later. So if it's sort of a streetwise smart aleck, there's like a charm or a charisma to a Channing Tatum that I kind of like, but it's really going to come down to the director and the script as to what it is that they try and achieve with the Gambit character. Because that's dicey. I mean, it's also from that era of weird comic book. I mean, like,
always
it's a
had
dude
like a
who.
group of... I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna wrap up with. I mean, like, Gambit's a tricky character. I mean, you really think about bringing him to the real world cinema, to live action filmmaking, where it's a dude who throws exploding playing cards and has like an expandable staff that he hits people with. I mean, that character can be cornball.
He can.
Really fast.
No, exactly. He can, and as I'm mixed with this whole the idea of his casting because I liked him in the 21 Jump Street. I think he was very good there. Some of that quick wit and flavor I think would be useful for Gambit. I'm liking what I see from Jupiter Rising, but again, that also is one of those films that may or may not translate well, depending on how well the Wachowski brothers do. They've not been hits anyway for the last couple of movies. Right. My problem with him is that he's beginning to sound a lot like Channing Tatum in a lot of his movies.
That's actually, I mean, like, because you're not wrong. I put up Channing Tatum as one of those performers where he might have limited range, but when you nail the right role for him, it's absolutely a great synergy. It's just you can't expect him. He's not the most flexible performer. He's not. He's not going to be like a Sam Rockwell or someone who can just sort of morph into different types of characters.
Yeah.
So it's really going to come down to what they expect of him as a Gambit.
Well, who's doing the casting for the movie? Because if it's like
is Bryan Singer? I mean, that's just
Never mind. I don't.
Well, okay. Now, granted, everyone has said, and all the early reviews are like, "This X-Men is the best X-Men," which says not much because all of them suck.
Yeah.
That's why I'm as concerned. So, but a lot of people have said this is much better as a movie. I'm thinking just because the time traveling is a lot back in the 70s, where we can just take it as is, in that period rather than in the future.
Well, let's be honest, it's to retcon some of the issues they had with X-Men 3.
Absolutely,
to go back and clean up some of those.
Probably X-Men 1 issues, X-Men 2 issues. Issues with the whole franchise. Let's call it that.
So, but I mean, I think it's a smart business play. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Just to say real quick, I think it's a smart business play because they need to start introducing characters other than Wolverine.
Yes,
Wolverine
I agree.
becomes the main character of every X-Men property. He has his own standalone movies. Introducing Deadpool into the ecosystem didn't really do what they thought it was going to do. They need to start diversifying.
It could have. Actually,
it could have. It totally could have, but they didn't handle it well.
Were still.
And they turned it into a Wolverine defeats a one-off villain situation as
opposed actually, they should actually push for a Deadpool movie now. If this movie is a reset, right? It means everything that happened doesn't necessarily exist, right?
Mm-hmm. And I'd actually be kind of stoked to see Ryan Reynolds return on
right back. Exactly. I think that's a good vehicle for Ryan Reynolds to go back to. But the thing about a Gambit movie and what I know I'm not going to enjoy from him as being Gambit is that there is no Rogue. As far as I'm concerned, there is no Rogue to go with his Gambit. And that was one of the best parts of Gambit as a character. His love for Rogue, his flirting around, but the fact that he always tried to come back to her and you weren't even sure where his feelings were because you just knew this guy was a playboy who just found something that he couldn't really touch her in the first place anyway, so.
Well, it'd be really tricky to go back and kind of reset that, and it would depend on whether or not Anna Paquin even wanted to continue.
Well, I think she's a horrible Rogue. I'm sorry, I don't enjoy her at all.
Yeah. But I think in part a piece of that is, and because I don't disagree with you guys, this is not what I want out of Rogue from when I grew up reading comics. But I think a part of that has been where they've taken the character has been. Again, it's in trying to keep it more grounded and real and all this other stuff. They don't have characters like Ms. Marvel, so they sort of kept her to just oh man, how awful would it be if you had the ability to sort of suck life out of people, and so there's still the possibility that they could introduce a situation where she becomes like hyper powered, but she still has the drawback of not being able to come in contact with anybody, and then that can lead into introducing the romance between Gambit. I mean, like, the nice thing about a comic movie is all that stuff is still on the table. She's young enough as Rogue or she started young enough as Rogue where you could introduce all of these story elements now and actually still have it fit into the exact same continuity.
Well, you could always give her Miss Marvel's powers, but just not mention how she got it, because she's just too ashamed to actually say, right? Really
Right.
could just do that, even though there are rights involved, but you could actually give her those powers and be fine with it. But I think, they need to scrap her as Rogue. And there's a lot of bad casting in the X-Men franchise.
That's my worry with Channing Tatum.
Yeah, and then that's my worry too. I think we all like him as an actor. We're just not sure how it will fit. And since I don't like Bryan Singer as director, I know it's not going to fit right. It's going to be like, Apollo 13, square plug, round hole type thing.
I mean, it's very much. I'm tentatively. I'm not quite as on board as I was when Ben Affleck was announced for Batman, but I'm very confident that if there is a problem with Channing Tatum as a Gambit, that it's probably not going to be Channing Tatum's fault.
You think it'll be like the script and the way they did?
Yeah, like, again, if the idea for the character just doesn't mesh well with what we know Channing Tatum can deliver, then that's a miscasting situation. Not, I don't think Channing Tatum's a good enough actor to do it. It's, I don't think Channing Tatum was the right actor for the type of role that they wanted to portray.
I mean, it's very true. I mean, the way you explained it reminds me of how Ben Affleck spoke about Batman on, I think it was Jimmy Fallon. He said, they called me up for it. I was like, no, I don't think I'm good for this at all. And then he saw the script, and they told him where they were going. He said, oh, okay. And and it kind of goes to question how, like, some of the other castings that we thought about Bryan Cranston, and realized they were not even looking for an older Lex. They wanted a younger Lex. So I mean, it goes the same way for Channing Tatum. It's what kind of Gambit is he going to play? And how does that fit into this universe that they're looking for?
And since we're talking X-Men, do you guys think that we're going to see Cyclops come back?
Well,
I would like so. I will hope so.
I think so. I'm saying that just because at the premiere thing in New York here that they had on Sunday, or was it Sunday or Saturday, Jason was there. Jason is part of our little tech crew, and he got autographs from all the cast members, including Cyclops. He actually tweeted about that. He's like, yeah, Cyclops was there. So it's like, I don't know if he's in the movie, spoiler or something, or maybe he's going to show up, because if you're going to do Age of Apocalypse, they actually a couple of central characters that have to be in there, unless you screw it up. It's called Gambit, Wolverine, Cyclops.
Yeah, they're all kind of mandatory.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're going to do that storyline, Cyclops has to be there.
Unless, how awful would this be if in the worst, most cynical Hollywood way possible, that they just scratch out Cyclops and just sort of pencil in Havoc for everything.
Oh my God! I will shoot somebody. Oh my God! It's like
I would watch that movie just to scream at the screen.
It's like somebody taking my childhood up like this and just stabbing it continuously.
Well, the way they kill off Cyclops is, it's probably the most criminal thing they've ever done in movies. It was so bad the way they did Cyclops. So
and you could tell it was a total FU to the actor for choosing to go do Superman Returns.
Please, let's
not talk about that movie, please.
Oh, I'm just saying, I feel bad for, what's his name? Marsden, right?
James Marsden, yeah, James Marsden.
I just feel bad for him because he got caught in a DC Marvel pissing contest, and he went with what, honestly, if you had your pick between being in Superman or being in X-Men.
Yeah, I'm going to be Superman.
I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it.
Not even with Kevin Spacey? You're crazy.
Bryan Singer was director. I knew that movie was doomed from the very beginning.
He worked with Bryan Singer for 2 films. Of course he's gonna stick with Bryan Singer.
I meant
bigger
him.
Franchise.
I meant him. If I was him, I wouldn't do it, because after doing 2 films with him and not reading any single comic book, I would go, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. Bye. But sorry,
I don't think any actor passes up.
No way.
No.
Having worked for talent agents out in LA, I know a few agents who would have driven to his house and just punched him in the stomach until he agreed to take that role. Figuratively speaking, maybe not literally.
Yeah, okay. All right, cool. But we have a couple comments here. I know this is one from Lou Rod. He says, think about the next film is set in the 80s for Age of Apocalypse. So the reboot, without really saying it, yes, they will. I
I
think
kind of hope so.
technically
I
do
kind
that.
of hope that they pull a J.J. Abrams and just retcon the whole thing.
Yeah. And there's a comment here on the video itself from Zane Smilian, who says, first and foremost, I'd like to say I love this suit. This reference to Ben Affleck in the Batman suit. It's different from past Batman suit. It has so much detail and looks a bit worn out to show that Batman is a seasoned hero. Just as they said in past interviews, he looks exactly like Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns, and also confirms why they chose Ben Affleck as Batman. Now all we need to see is a pic of Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman teaser before I get all the hype. I say leave Gal Gadot out of it. Don't show me anything at all. Just
Well, I mean, or at least wait a month so that we can kind of pace out.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But I will ask you though. So, what do you guys think of? I didn't mention this. Of the bat signal. It's literally the same one from Dark Knight Returns. I mean, it's the huge, kind of. I call it the fat bat.
The fat pack.
So what do you think about it? It's not the traditional, those very slim, chiseled looking.
Can you put up a picture again?
I
Bat
was gonna
signal.
try and pull it up on my side too.
Actually, yes. Can you pull it? Because I'm having a steady LTE stream right now. I don't want to mess it up.
Yeah, you've been doing good so far. So
Yeah.
let's make sure that doesn't get too messed up. Give me 1 second. I had it in. I'm actually just gonna go
Sure, no
into
problem.
the actual tweet.
But yeah, I mean, I think it looks solid. I think you get a good. I mean, it just makes him look just. Lex likes to say he just looks boss. Like he looks like you don't want to mess with him. Like just.
Have you guys
strictly
ever
put
seen
it-
Flashpoint Paradox with
Yeah.
the Flash? Well, in that
Yeah.
in that paradigm, his father was the Batman, and like it's almost the same look, in a way, because his dad was brolic, and he was kind of like worn out, and like this is just his life now because his son died in the different time
Yeah.
frame. So it reminds me of that in a way.
I have Sam behind me here.
What up, Sam? All right, I've got it pulled back up. No, it should be.
Sam was asking, what do you think about the ears for the
I
for the
dig it.
cow?
I like Frank Miller doesn't have to compensate for anything with the size of his bat ears.
Well, yeah, like I said, I think it's a better way to kind of showcase him. I don't like the elongated ears, like I said before, so short ears are nice.
Same as Batman Returns, shorter ears,
Oh yeah, it is.
and it's just.
I mean, and a few other people have like brought up parallels between that and the Adam West Batman, and I'm fine with that too.
Yeah, no, I think it's just closest to Batman Returns actually, and Dark Knight Returns. Sorry, not Batman Returns. Dark Knight Returns. So Lex, what do you think about the bat symbol on his chest?
I mean, I guess it's a symbolism for something. I just don't know what exactly. I do like the way it looks on his
Oh,
suit.
no, it's not symbolism at all. It's got to be. They have to have a scene where someone shoots him in the chest, and he goes, "Yeah, I can't armor plate my whole body." It's a big target. The bat symbol is supposed to be a big target, so that people like can make sure they hit center mass.
Mass.
I guess it's just showing away because he's older Batman, so you got to have the big old imposing Batman logo on your chest.
I call it the fat Batman logo. I don't think it's big imposing.
I'd
I
be
mean,
into
it's
it
still cool though.
as a villain. It's like, why is your chest that big, and why do you have the Batman logo that big? Yeah. I would just walk away.
Barrel chested.
Yeah, so some of the points that you mentioned, Juan, earlier about that more seasoned Batman, where we get a very stylized approach to his fighting, where he's going through the shadows. I want to see some scenes where, and I know we might not see it in this movie, or we may. All depends. If you ever watch Public Enemy, Public Enemy is it's a Batman Superman crossover. There's one scene in there where Batman basically takes a superhero who was trying to capture Superman, because in the storyline there was because Superman's on Earth, a huge meteorite of Kryptonite was coming down, and Batman took him to the corner and said something and freaked the shit out of the guy, and Superman overheard it, but he was like, "This guy is nuts." Like if you ever read any of the Batman Superman comics, the dialogue between both of them and also the inner monologue is awesome because it's almost like there was one scene there where a bunch of heroes came. Superman flew up to the sky, and he just blasted all of them with his heat vision. And then Batman looked up as he was coming down. He's like, "Oh, thank God he landed with a cancer, man. This guy did a fantastic job." Meaning, if he's that powerful, he'd probably kill all of us if he was evil.
Right.
So that kind of dialogue, I would love to see some of that, even if they take some from the comic books, because I think there's enough there where you can see just good dialogue between both characters, because they have this, they're basically the same side of I mean, they're different sides of a coin, and also the way Batman and Superman are reading are literally the same size of a coin of a city. Metropolis is just the daytime of Gotham City, really. And both of them are the two sides of New York. So if you really write it in that fashion, I think you really get a good dynamic of what those characters truly mean in the DC universe, as a whole. So it will be interesting to see, definitely. So any last thoughts on the Batfleck costume and the vehicle before we round up?
No, I feel like the picture itself just represents the good way for the movie to go. I think it's a perfect picture to showcase what Batman's doing in this. He looks sad, he looks worn out, but he still looks like Batman. So, I mean, it's a good way to look at him.
Yeah,
Okay.
I completely agree. It's absolutely a step in the right direction for building some buzz and building press for this film.
All right, cool. All right, thank you very much, guys, and thank you everyone for watching. If you want to catch us on our different social networks, definitely check out, first of all, Mr. Juan Bagnell from some Gadget Guy. He's got some great videos.
He's also a great voice actor.
Yes. Got a lovely voice that will serenade you. I'm just going to warn you, once you click on his video, you will watch the whole thing through. The voice is... just tell me what magic spells you use, because I don't think it's your voice.
It's just pure raw talent. It's all just
what magic spells you're casting out there, because once you click on that video, you're just going to be watching the whole thing. Because usually, on YouTube, we tend to skip around. But, he's got some very nice videos.
Especially the potato video that you have, Juan, is amazing. I saw like 2 or 3. Your potato?
The potato video. Definitely check out his potato video. He does a very impeccable job in unboxing, and was it review too?
It's an unboxing. It's a long-term review. It's a device comparison. Yeah, it's a first hands-on, and it's a long-term review, and it's
like,
first
I mean, my camera doesn't really, able to focus, but I'm still gonna do it.
and I mean, it's pretty much the most comprehensive review you can find on the internet today.
Yes, pretty much. So check him out. It's Some Gadget Guy on YouTube. That is his YouTube channel. Also, you can follow him on Twitter. It is Some Gadget Guy. And next up is a good guy there, Lex. He is one of our contributing writers on Board at Work. You've seen a couple of videos. He's done some comparison videos. He'll be doing some more stuff. And Lex, what's your handle? Since we can't see your lower third, for some reason you're like blocked.
At Lex, LEXMONIYI.
Okay, that is his Twitter handle. Definitely follow him on Twitter. He's got some good stuff, some very cool videos. He's got his own style. Everyone's different on Board at Work, we don't force people to do, take my style, because my style's super awesome. But it's okay. We can have other
and some
styles
people choose to wear more pieces of flair, and we're okay with that.
Exactly. Oh my God. Off his face. Oh man. And don't forget to subscribe to Board at Work on YouTube. It's Board at Work, and you can follow me on all social media. It's also Board at Work. So thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it. Keep watching. And this is Thunder E saying thank you, and always enjoy entertainment.
Peace.
Bam.
Flares.